adjusted a bit there. There we go. Now it looks a little better. All right. So let's see if my computer comes up. You guys can see me for those of you guys who still have power and internet. Let's see. There's a Jacob saying 5x5. Okay. I still can't see my screen. So here comes my screen. It's faster to Boston than it is to me, huh? All right. Lucky Dame says 5x5. Okay, so a couple of you guys can see me. We're good. All right. My mods are all going crazy. All right. Good deal. Happy Saturday, guys. It's lovely weather out, isn't it? It was a whopping 21 degrees out when Mrs. P and I went out at the warm point of the day to go grocery shopping. So that was fun. So hoping that you guys up on the East Coast are making it through. But I see Robert in here. I see Jacob in here. So, at least I know Boston's not completely shot, but I did see something like 137,000 people are without power right now. So let's all hope that goes well. So, the big news. Obviously, the truckers have landed in Ottawa today. And if anybody got a chance to watch any of the plethora of live streams that were out there, it was pretty impressive. I was watching one guy's stream for about 15 minutes or whatever. It was 18,000 people watching his live stream, and it was just trucks everywhere. You can only watch so much of it because all you're hearing is horns, but it was kind of cool. So, but, that was the interesting thing. So now we'll see what happens. I mean, landing on a Saturday is great. Let's see if they stick around till Monday when government opens again. That'll be the interesting part to see what the response is out of the Canadian government. However, did everybody see what the CBC, the state-run media up there, Canadian Broadcasting Company, came out and said this evening? They are accusing all the people in the Freedom Convoy of being agents of Russia, that Russia coordinated this whole convoy. Okay, now remember, CBC up until a few days ago said the whole deal with the convoy was the truckers were protesting icy roads. So, yeah, I mean, CBC obviously has less credibility than CNN, and hopefully they have less viewers than CNN, with their 90,000 viewers or whatever. I get a kick out of it. I've got videos that have more viewers than CNN, which is kind of humorous if you think about it. But yeah, so that was it. So the CBC is now trying to blame the convoy on Russia. Go figure. It's like when you have nothing else to blame it on Russia. Hell, it worked for 4 years for the Democrats, right? Down here in the States. Why not try it up in Canada? So that was it. I thought that was humorous. I did want to give you guys a fun one here. If you remember, what was it, a few weeks ago, maybe it was about a month ago or whatever, I had a Yingling beer, so I was tipping my hat to everybody in Pennsylvania. So Mrs. P and I were at the store today, and I saw something that I hardly ever see around here, and so I had to get it. And if anybody can guess what it is, I'll give you a hint. It goes real well with briskets. Yes, guys, I found one in Tennessee. They had 2 bottles. That was it. So my tip of the hat to Texas today. So we'll enjoy a nice Shiner Bock with you guys. I haven't had one of these in years, so it tastes good. So, all right. So that was real short today. That was pretty much the only thing that was in the news, and the Russia tie-in was kind of funny. Other than that, it's the normal stuff. I guess y'all like the pictures of Daphne that I put up this afternoon. It was just kind of cute that she came up and laid on the back of the chair and decided to wrap herself around my shoulders. I was like, okay. So I said to Mrs. P, I said, you got to get a picture of this one. This is good. So that was that. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much too cold to be doing anything outside. So nothing there, though I did get all my seed tapes made. So I've got a whole kitchen table full of them here. Getting ready to go. So now they just get to sit around and do nothing until, hell, for me, now the ground thaws out. I mean, it's still a month and a half till they go on the ground, but beside the point. So let's get into what tonight's all about, you guys, and I will go through the rules. So, as if you've been here long enough, go get a beer, go to the bathroom, go pet the dog, walk the dog, do whatever. So here's the deal, guys. Tuesdays and Saturdays are all about you guys. Okay, it's a chance for you guys to ask what's on your mind. Let me know what topics you want to discuss, and that's what we talk about. Okay, so if you've got a question directed to me, just like every other YouTube channel that's out there, please put it in all caps. That way, when I'm looking at the computer right below me here, I can tell that it's directed at me. However, I completely encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. The only thing I ask is please keep those in lowercase letters so I can skip over them. Lets me go a lot faster without trying to read thousands of comments. So just kind of flip on through like that. As per normal, I will ask everybody to keep it PG-13. Okay, like my saying goes, your teenagers have heard what'll come out of my mouth every once in a while. Your 6-year-old probably doesn't need to hear it. But that doesn't mean that it's all, no rules, anything goes. The moderators in here, and I got some of the best on YouTube between North Shore, Jacob, Robert, Lucky Dame, and Lorna, and they know very well what they're doing and will get rid of the trolls real quick. I've seen they've already cleaned house on a couple of them today. We don't put up with any name calling. Disagreeing is fine as long as you do it politely, okay? No, I've never asked anybody to agree with everything I said. I never think anybody ever will, okay? Like I've said on any channel, take the important stuff, leave the rest of it, and move on, okay? Something I say is going to be important to one person, something is going to be important to somebody else, just like anybody else. You don't believe your boss, your spouse, your mother, your kids 100% of the time. If you don't agree with what I say, that's fine. And I don't mind disagreement whatsoever, as long as it's polite. As soon as you start getting off the rails on impoliteness or posting conspiracy theory crap or something like that, then you're gone. We stick with reality around here. We stick with facts. So then the only other thing is I will go through every question. I try to answer every one of them. Okay. Just time. Eventually I run out. I don't skip over anybody's question. Nobody's blackballed or anything like that. Unless you've been kicked off the channel, then I won't see your question anyway. However, the one questions that I will skip over are the ones that YouTube does not like us talking about. In other words, anything that's FJB or let's go, anything that talks about the 2020 election, or anything that talks about climate change. Okay, those are topics that I'm not going to touch because YouTube will put a strike on the channel. I ask that you guys don't put it in the comments because YouTube will give the channel a strike for something that you said in the comments. So hence the reason the moderators are pretty sticky about that, because I've asked them to. Okay, spent enough time with strikes. I'm finally out again. So even if I did get one, I'd only be in jail for a week. Not that I don't have the backup channel still, but it's we kind of stick around here because a lot of people haven't found that. So okay, that being said, let's get to the top, and I will get through as many of these as I can, and we will see what y'all want to talk about tonight. So, Lamont Sanford says, question, can you talk a little bit about your time in Moscow? Sure. I'll give you a couple of minutes on this here. Mrs. P and I met online around Thanksgiving 2015, and talked, God, for the better part of 5 months or whatever it was. I went to Moscow mid-April, stayed till about the first week of May. I was there for 10 days or somewhere thereabouts, 21st of April till, I know I was there for May Day. All right. And so it was very interesting because I don't speak Russian. Fortunately, Mrs. P speaks English, and there's not a whole lot of words that Commander, thank you again for the super chat. Yes, I will get to that question here in a minute. I lost my train of thought there. There's not a whole lot of words in Czech that are the same as in Russian. Okay, and again, then you're talking about Cyrillic alphabet, and I can't read the Cyrillic alphabet. I always joke with her is, you see a restaurant, and it looks like if you read it in Latin letters, it's peck to paw, right? But it's actually restaurant. It's the same word. But we went in, we saw, I mean, she lived there, but she showed me, oh my God, Arbat, which is like a huge outdoor touristy type strip mall, but all outdoors, everything. We went and saw the Kremlin, got to go see a play on May 1st inside the Kremlin. That was pretty cool. We went up to St. Petersburg and saw the Hermitage Museum. That was amazing. Walked around Moscow, saw St. Basil's, saw Double D. Thank you for the super chat as well. Saw the Romanovs' house, the Romanovs' castle, which, obviously this goes back centuries. And you can tell how short everybody was back then. You guys know how tall I am. But, you had doorways that were 5 feet high. And I'm trying to go through these doorways. So, there was one point of going up the stairs where, I kid you not, I had to crawl on my hands and knees because that was the only way I cleared the stairwell. Okay. But it was really interesting because, riding the metro wherever we went, Mrs. P didn't have a car. Most people in Moscow don't. But, a lot of what Konstantin shows you on, well, I mean, obviously everything he shows you is Moscow, but a lot of what he shows you, I've been to those places, not necessarily their particular restaurant or anything, but like today he was showing, outside Lenin's tomb and things like that. And, I've been to all that. It's really cool. So, one of those places where you think you'd never get a chance to visit. If you want something to put on your bucket list, guys, Moscow is definitely a place to go see. And I know one of the questions in his chat today was, how are Americans treated? And I answered in the comments there, basically indifferently. People didn't really, they didn't yell at me or anything like that. I was just another person walking down the street. They could have cared less, Mrs. P and I were talking in English, but you walk around and you're going to hear all sorts of different languages. Just like if you go into New York City, you're going to hear all sorts of different languages. It's an international city. So, if you hear a different language here where I am in Tennessee, that might turn your head, but in Moscow, no big deal. Somebody could be Chinese, Korean, whatever dialect of Russian they're speaking, or, any European language is not a big deal. So, yeah, nobody even really probably paid attention that I was an American. Nobody probably even knew, okay, because my background is Slavic, so I look somewhat the part. Okay, I do want to answer this for Commander here, as he has graced me with a wonderful super chat. I thank you very much for that. Chat a little bit about growing microgreens. It's very easy to do, guys. It's just you have to have the space to do it. Now, your little seed cups or whatever, the little 1-inch squares that you're planting your stuff in there. Go ahead and plant. If you want to grow some microgreens, go ahead and plant peas in there. When the peas get to be an inch or two high, cut them all off. And now you've got pea shoots or bean shoots or anything like that. Any of your little young plants like that, in a pinch, you can grow those very quickly within a couple of days, usually, and have something to eat. So, when you're talking about wintertime, and let's just say we get in a serious SHTF situation, obviously you're not gardening anytime, this time in most of the country. You can certainly grow microgreens and get some sort of vegetables, greenery, if you will, in your diet. But, very simple. Just put them in a south-facing window or an east-facing window. And, when the seedlings are a couple inches high, poof, you're there. Other things you can think about in the same respect, the tails of a scallion or something, that you cut off the end with the little roots in it, plant those. you'll keep growing more scallions. Okay, do that right now. You'll never have to buy scallions again because they just keep coming until you pull it out from the roots. A lot of your lettuces and things like that you can grow in the house. Especially if you get the cut and come again type lettuces, not the heads, but the leaf type lettuces. Go in there, pick off a few leaves of lettuce and let it keep going. A couple days later, you're going to pick off a few more leaves of lettuce. It won't be perpetual like the onion will, but there's a lot of things like that. Look at the plants that you can grow inside. Beets. You're not gonna get your big bulbs of beets by growing them in little seed cups, but you can eat the beetroot or the beet leaves, So, look at things like that you can grow and have those seeds. I mean, there's the thing, when it comes springtime, a month or so from now, we're all going to be planting our peas. Save yourself peas. I've got there's a 1 pound bag of peas, which it probably got a couple, I think it's got 10,000 seeds in it or something like that. And then I've got a ton of peas I saved from last year. So, I'm building a seed bank, if you will, of a lot of things that I can do. And don't let anybody tell you seeds are only good for 1 year. They're not. So, but yeah, microgreens, if you don't have the south or east facing window, do it under a lamp, a grow light. And I did a video last year. A few of you guys have asked for it, for how to do it cheap. If you're just growing microgreens or just using it for seed starting, you don't need the ultraviolet and the infrared lights. You can just use a white shop light as long as it's got the lumens to it that you need it. So, but that whole video was there with the links to exactly what lights I use and how I built the frames for them and everything. Real simple stuff. So, all right. If I can clear that out, moving on along. Let's see. The Cushnet Prepper says snowed in Massachusetts. Somebody said you guys got about a foot. So Camp 4 Low, is that what it is? Ola from Baja, Mexico. There you go. Well, hopefully it ain't snowing down there, but I'm betting you're not as warm as you're used to either. Lorna, slow mode. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't do that for you guys today. Let me change that real quick. Bear with me. Customization. Here we go. Slow mode. All right, Lorna, you have your slow mode. We're good to go. Okay. Billy Rose says, howdy from North Texas. Howdy right back to you. My salute to Texas. Yum. Okay. Tom in Wyoming says, good job, Canada. This is what stand on guard looks like. So I saw a bunch of you guys like the video I put up. And if you've seen somebody else, I've seen a couple other ones. I saw somebody did a similar video to Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it. And then I saw another one today where somebody had rewritten the words and sung themselves to Convoy. So took out the, across the USA and, across Canada or whatever it was. So there are a few people that played with that. Those are fun to make. Those are a pain in the butt to make. They're a lot of fun though once they come out. But yeah, I just finally found enough video. I'm like, okay, I can put something together. It wasn't going to be perfect, but yes, I enjoyed doing those. And of course, no, I got the copyright claim, but I did not get a strike. So, and I knew that was coming. So no big deal. Northern Ozark Homestead, march and shoot in the woods. No rain for weeks though. Well, you need the rain, that's for sure. But, right now, be happy you're not getting all the snow. You guys got your dumping of snow here last week. Robin Robinson, North Korea has been very active lately. Any thoughts, if I can? Yes, I saw some more today that little rocket man keeps on shooting all those little rockets off into the ocean here and seeing what's going on. We've talked about this before. Remember, I mean, North Korea is a Chinese ally, China's little brother. And if anything happens in Taiwan, what North Korea is going to be right involved in. So, they might be saying, to Big Brother, hey, look at us. You can count on us. We've got stuff we can do. The funny thing that surprises me more than anything else is I think we all know that North Korea is not exactly what you'd call a wealthy country. Okay. And missiles aren't free. So every one of these that he's shooting off to show how big his schwanz is here, uh, is one less missile he's got in his battery. It makes no sense to why, but nobody's ever accused him of being the sharpest knife in the drawer. But the only thing I can think of is he's trying to show his big brother, Xi Jinping, that hey, we can do something too. Never too old to learn. Are there any truckers lining up in the U.S. to do the same as the Canadian truckers? I would love to see it. Okay. And if they drove through here somewhere nearabouts, I mean, I'm about an 8-hour drive from DC. I mean, I just have to, for the most part, traverse the entire state of Virginia and I'm there. If they did something and went on, I'd go to DC and I'd go film all this stuff. That I want to see. The marching up and down between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial, big deal. They do that 5 times a year for whatever cause. But if we had something go on, it's like it's going on in Canada, I'm there. But I haven't heard anything about it. And, could be a lot of the fact that, the majority of the truckers in the United States are owned by trucking companies. There aren't a whole lot of independents left. And, trucking companies aren't going to say, yeah, sure, take our truck and take a week off and go do this. So, Ace Maduro, sorry, President T, would like to watch the whole live stream, but pinball's on. Thanks. Yep, that's me. Trudeau was whisked away from his residence due to concerns of being surrounded. I wonder, I mean, how do you get out of that one? Okay. No matter what the CBC or anything was saying, I mean, they knew exactly what was going on and saw at the beginning of the week how many trucks were starting to pile up when they were outside Vancouver. All right. So as they're crossing British Columbia, you're still a couple of 1,000 miles away and they're going, holy crap, there's hundreds of trucks already. Let's get them out. Well, how do you do that in this situation? Gee, he's going to turn tail, put the yellow stripe up his back, and go hide from the truckers. No, we can't do that. Well, he's going to go take a vacation down in the Bahamas. Well, no, we can't do that because, we're telling everybody that they're restricted to, not do anything. Okay, so let's say he's got COVID. Well, that's going to be kind of tough because, he's had 92 vaccine shots. Well, that's our best option. So, but yeah, I think pretty much everybody knows that if Trudeau tested positive, so be it. But the reason that he's not there is he's just a coward. I mean, this is it. He's a soy boy, skinny jean wearing, panty waist coward. That's it. And the sooner somebody finds an oak tree and a rope, the better off Canada will be. Cushnet Prepper, moose and squirrel were at fault. Yeah. Hey, Ruggy. Okay. A couple of you guys talking about my beer. Yes. Okay. So you can tell how far behind I am already. Poppy Prepper, Labatt's Blue. There you go. That would have been a good one for today. Yes, I guess you're right. But I saw the shiner and I had to go for it. I'll give you a funny pinball fact. Some of you guys are old enough to remember back in the 70s when beer can collecting was a big fad. Okay. And I was young, 7, 8 years old, whatever it was. And my brother and me and all our friends, everybody were collecting beer cans. Well, I never stopped doing it until my mid 40s. So I had a hell of a collection, cans going back to the 30s. I mean, cans worth some serious money. Thanks, divorce. But yeah, so I got very knowledgeable about beers from all over, not only the United States, but all over the world. So yeah, there's not a whole lot that I'm not going to know about some of them. Interesting. More useless knowledge in my head. Candace Cullen, how long have I had the hat? Just a fun question to kick off. When did I buy this one? God. 2010, 2011, somewhere thereabouts. It was when I was in New Hampshire. So that was before I was in Boston, which was before I was in Salt Lake, which was before I was in Vegas, which was before I was here. So yeah, it was just go to work and obviously it's cold and I needed something to keep my head warm. Uh Anti-feminist woman. How are the Walmarts there in their supplies? Empty shelves. I haven't been in Walmart in a couple of weeks. The nearest super Walmart to me, there's a little one, like the old Kmart type Walmarts that's in the town here in me. I got to go up to Kentucky to get to a super Walmart. The Walmart near me doesn't have, but a couple aisles of food. I mean, it's got some canned goods and, milk and butter and things like that, but I mean, no bread or anything. Then it's kind of hit and miss what's there. For the longest time, there were no canning jars or paper products would be down, no water or whatever. When we were at the main super Walmart a couple of weeks ago up in Middlesboro, Kentucky, I've told everybody about this, there was one complete aisle in the grocery section, totally empty. Like they moved everything to other shelves and just made one empty space. The meat was totally picked over. I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. But it's hit and miss what I see at the grocery store. A couple of weeks ago, when my daughter was here, we went to the grocery. There was no milk in the grocery store. I've told you times about going and there was no hot dogs, no cold cuts, no nothing. So it's like there's nothing there. And then a week later, there's a boatload of it. And then there's nothing there. So it's like, the grocery stores are, at least around me, are whatever they get. It's kind of like the lottery. It's like, oh, look, we got 40 boxes of hot dogs this week. Put them all out. Oh, next week, oh, we got all this tuna. Put it all out. So just different. Tom Driggett, drinking Canadian Club in honor of our brothers to the north. There you go. If I don't do my Canadian whiskey, I'll take Crown Royal, but CC isn't bad. David Williams. Okay, shut up. Good evening from a 64-degree night in central Mexico. Hope we're staying warm. Like I said, it was 21 here today. I don't want to hear it. I love 64 again. I'm done with winter. JB Prebs, don't have a stinking thing to add, so I'm just glad to be here. Good. That's it. Glad you're here. Daniel Ashley, how long does it take grass to die once garden fabric has been laid down? Okay, depends on the garden fabric. If you have the garden fabric that's porous, like stuff that's used in your vegetable gardens to let water through, it's not going to kill it as quickly because water can get through. Okay, it's still got some sunlight's going to get through it. I've always used either cardboard or plastic bags, or I had leftover sheets of plywood. One year I used that were rotting, so I used those. But usually a couple of weeks until everything is done. And then depending on what you're going to do, if you're going to till it or anything like that, you should be fine. But I'd say probably 3 weeks and you'd be good. This time of year, probably even faster. But again, it's going to, it all depends on how healthy the grass was in the first place or what kind of soil you got. But a couple, 3 weeks, you should be fine. Ace Maduro, I'll send you my seeds and toilet paper if you need something to do. No, I'm okay. Thanks, though. Montana Grizz fan, any news on the seed boxes? People should email you when they get it and send the box out so it can be tracked. Okay, so we had one box. I know where both of mine are. The two I sent out, I know where both of those are. No, I take it back. My apologies. I know where one of the boxes is. They're both in Georgia, and one box I heard from somebody a couple of days ago that it was sent out. So it should be wrapping up in Georgia and then heading to Florida. The other box is in Georgia. The last I heard from that was on January 11th. So that one's been sitting almost for somebody for 2 months, unless it's been moving on and nobody's told me. Okay. And then anytime somebody's not on one of my lists, I let either Treasure Seekers or Voodoo Queen or Unique Rabbit know that there's other people coming out. But yes, I would greatly appreciate if, as people got the box, they would let me know so we can track it. But I just know, looking at this list and talking to like Voodoo Queen and stuff like that, we've got 75 people on each list. I mean, my 2 boxes, one's on the 19th person and one is on the 22nd person. So it'll run through the South here. There's not a whole lot. I mean, I look at this, it's got one box has got 3 people in Florida, 1 in Alabama, and then it's heading to West Tennessee and up to Illinois. So depending on how well people do it, if these things move. But the problem we have again is, I got a box that somebody's been sitting on for 2 months, and that's just frustrating, not only for me but for everybody else who signed up for this. So, but I don't know what the situation is, with the person, because obviously they didn't tell me. But I'd hope that everybody would honor the request to keep the box moving. So, unfortunately, I was hoping everybody would move it in a couple of days, and I tried to keep it so it didn't have to travel far, so it wasn't the post office all the time. But when people are sitting on the box for a week or 2, it just screws it for everybody else. So nothing I can do about that, guys. I apologize. Whoops, shot to the bottom. Let's see. Smoky Blazer, hey Pan, running my ass off on dump runs. Can't wait to move to Missouri. Don't be thinking about dump runs, because down here I got to do dump runs too. There's no trash pickup by me, so you might be in the same boat. Let's see. Lucky Dame, he didn't want to miss the super chat from Kurt Shanaman, who says, just an Army veteran. Thanks, Kurt. I didn't see it. I appreciate that. Just an Army vet who likes. Well, there we go. To my fellow Army vet, thank you, sir. And I guess there's one here from Daniel Ashley as well. Thank you. I apologize. Nancy Johnson said, what's the name of the portable car charger you have? I answered you earlier in the chat at top. I got it on Amazon. It's Avapow, AVAPOW. Go look that one up. That'll be what you're looking for. Double D Homestead. There were a bunch of trucks that couldn't leave for mandates, but met them at the border. Yeah, I saw there were people. What was it? Detroit, I think near Buffalo, and then it was somewhere. I think it was upstate New Hampshire or whatever it was. That trucks were meeting up there that couldn't get across the border, but they were trying to signify their support as well. Mike Moore says, if I go to DC, do a video. If they have something, absolutely, I will do something. Because not like I'm working. Might as well go do something, right? North Shore, a good number of private trucking companies in Canada have 10 or more trucks in a convoy. I heard of one because one of the owners was interviewed on the news, and he said something about, when my guys are calling in, they're calling in tears because, the stores won't let them pay for anything. The people are paying for their gas, everything. So, he's never seen support like this. It's good. Okay. Wouldn't it be amazing if people were actually willing to support the government like that? Yeah, like that'll ever happen. Right. Because the government's ever done something for the people. CB, Cape Cod is super windy and snowing at least 2 feet with snow drifts 3 feet. Shovel the important stuff. More to come tomorrow. It's like snow NATO out there today. Stay warm. Hopefully you've got well, up there, you're probably on oil heat or electric, one of the two. Just in case anybody didn't see this story, coal prices shot through the roof today. Not that anybody heats their house with coal, but electric utilities use a lot of it, and coal prices went nuts on Saturday. Rhonda Rose, supply chain issues from the convoy. Do I think a quick resolution? No, I think this is going to make supply chain issues even worse, because now what you have is a whole bunch of trucks from, say, British Columbia that are now sitting in Ottawa, and it's going to take a few days for them to get back. And if they stick around to be heard, it's now going to be a game of chicken with Trudeau. Is Trudeau going to come out and say, okay, this isn't a fringe minority group, and yes, we're going to have to do something? Or is he going to stand his ground and say, screw you, I'm not doing anything? Because you know damn well he's not going to the grocery store. He could care less about whether there's food on the shelf for you guys. Because he'll still have his tofu burgers and whatever soy latte he needs to eat. Whether or not you can get food, he really doesn't care. Romy Davis, maybe we could use all these truckers to close the southern border. You see the stuff going on down in Texas where you now are having, Texas National Guard down there, but you're having civilians out there. And that's where it's going to start getting scary, is when you have vendettas, I guess, if you will, just guys are like, somebody comes across the border, I'm just shooting them. I'm not saying I'm against that. I'm just saying that could get scary. Okay. But, sorry, you're coming across the border anywhere but a immigration station, you're an illegal. Sorry. Not going to have any sympathy for you. Jeffrey Lindquist, I heard he was moved to an undisclosed location, talking about Trudeau again. I've heard everything, that he's been taken to South America, he's in the Bahamas, he's in hiding in a bunker somewhere, anything like that. The only thing I can say for certain is he's not working, okay? Not physically doing his job, but he's not working either, as in broken. Darren Farrell, the biggest news of the day was Tom Brady retiring, depending on who you listen to. If you listen to ESPN, Tom Brady retired. If you listen to Tom Brady hasn't retired yet. If you listen to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he hasn't retired yet. It depends. I mean, some of his ex-teammates say he did, some say he didn't. So, yeah. I mean, never liked him. Again, that's because I was a Colts fan. Okay. But I got to give credit where the credit's due. He's got more super rings than any other football franchise does in their history. So, however, football is a team sport. Okay. He didn't win all the Super Bowls by himself. There were coaching staff and other players and trainers and everything like that. But yes, he is certainly a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. Not bad for 199th draft pick. And no, I haven't watched football in about 4 years. Crypto Cajun, look at an episode of The Simpsons from 1999. Yeah, you can find a whole bunch of stuff from The Simpsons that eventually comes true. I mean, come on, we've got to think about the mentality level of the Democrat Party. What is it? Bart and Lisa are what, 6 and 7? That's about the education level of your typical Democrat anyway. So, politician at least. Yeah, I mean, 1984 and The Simpsons are the Democrat playbook. Ace, thank you for the super chat. Does Mrs. P get homesick if she watches Constantine? She gets homesick occasionally. I mean, we're talking about going back. I mean, remember, she hasn't been back in 6 years now, and still has her cousins and friends and things like that to go back there. So we want to go back. It's just a matter of, we got to get through what's going on with COVID first, because, and certainly with what's going on with Ukraine right now. because the last thing we want to do is go over there and then can't get back. So, Double D Homestead, did I have Billy beer? Never drank it, but yes, I had the cans. And according to my dad, who did drink it, it was nasty. There are a lot of bad beers out there. Back in the 70s for sure, because everybody just wanted to make the cans, and so it didn't matter if the beer was any good, they just wanted to have the can. Roy Hart canned 38 pints of venison today, stocking up, and it's better than Spam. There you go. I canned up another pint of bone meal today. There he goes. I got a quart of bone meal now. I'm doing good. North Shore says Northern Girl Hobbies is in Ottawa covering the convoy right now. Wow, she went all the way across the country with this thing, huh? Texas J Gardens says Trump is speaking at a rally in Conroe. Yeah, he started, I guess, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern this evening. So I knew that. It was like, oh, great, I can compete with Trump again. He's got to realize, you got to work with me there, Don. When I'm on, I don't step on you. You don't step on me. Kidding. Acushnet, do I have any Billy beer in my collection? I did a long time ago. Yes. And I had all the other ones that the JR beer from Who Shot JR, and all the other, the mash beer. I had some of the 007 beer, all the stuff like that. The 007 cans were worth something. The rest of them weren't worth squat. And whatever anybody tells you about the Billy beer cans were not worth a fortune. The Billy beer cans were worth a penny a piece. They were worth whatever you get for aluminum. Let's see. Christina Catherine, you are Slavic? Yeah, my heritage is Polish and Czech. Catbird Prepper, I went to Food Lion today in North Carolina, a lot of bare shelves. Mountaintop Preps is Kentucky Walmart, no workers, low chicken, no canned biscuits. Okay, there we go. That's the same Walmart. That's the name of the store. It's the same one I'm talking about here, because y'all know Mountaintop Preps is up the top of the mountain. So, hi, guys. A new beginning. More and more black and purple lights in San Antonio, Texas. Those, I told you guys about those, maybe a month ago or whatever. Those are the 5G transmitters. Okay, that's what you're getting in those lights. So, Okie Forge, it was 68 in Oklahoma today. It's supposed to be a low for 6, a 6 for a low on Friday. Yeah, do you love that? And you wonder why people catch a cold. Let's see. I saw this one real quick. Will it grow? I use vinegar and cardboard works to kill the grass. Yeah, cardboard, yeah, but the vinegar, the problem is then you're going to, unless you wait it out, anything you plant in it's going to die too, because you still got vinegar in the soil. Amy Arsenault, up to my knees in the snowstorm. We still have a few hours to go. Like I said the other day, go out and have some fun in it, okay? Enjoy it while you can. Patty Bob with good evening and greetings from Germany. Thank you, sir. Oh, not too bad. I'm only 12 minutes behind. North Shore says halfway points, and it's 9:42. Okay. Delilah says, and it disappeared on me. I thought it said Delilah says something like pause up. So I'm guessing that was I might have found it here. Somewhere close. I know it was close. Delilah says give Pinball a pause up. There we go. Delilah can give the pause up to Daphne. So there you go. Delilah was actually the alternate name that I wanted to give Daphne, and those are the two names I had in mind, and Mrs. P liked Daphne better. So let's see. Handyman Prepper. U.S. trucks have been going to Canada and also staging at border crossings. Yep, we talked about that a little bit. Let's see. Andrina C. I sent the box the next day. I'm the one that messaged you on the 11th. Okay, hang on. Let me see what we got. Okay, that's the box I'm missing, yes. Then I don't know where it ever went to, if it ever made it to the next person on the list. Okay. I don't know where it did, if it went down. Guys, if there's anybody in Georgia who has not told me that they have received the seed box, please let me know that you have gotten it and what's done with it, because there only should be a couple of emails, if you will. But the first one, if Andreas already sent it, then that was a month and a half ago. Okay, and I haven't heard from anybody afterwards. Okay. Patty Bob, truckers now staging convoys in Australia, Sweden, Denmark. I also heard about one in Brazil. Uh, there was another one somewhere too. I can't remember, but a lot of people, a lot of truckers are taking the Canadian model to heart here. CB, I'm on oil. I'm on oil heat. Did not power yet, but many flickers. Cross your fingers. Hope you got your backups ready. Is Soros in Ukraine? No, Soros is still in the United States, as far as I know. I mean, God knows he's not going to go to Europe, because if Hungary gets a hold of him, if Interpol can find him, Hungary wants him. Do. And Big Dog Ma, is USA doing a convoy to DC? I have not heard of anything. What's my favorite joke? Dudley Less asks. Christ, I couldn't even tell. I mean, jokes to me are spontaneous type things. You know, I'm going to tell you this long story. Uh, bore me by the time they're done. So, Daniel Ashley, for every 100 predictions the Simpsons make, 2 or 3 are going to be right. Yeah, it sounds about. Then I guess my comment was correct, because for about every 100 things that the Democrats want to do, but 2 or 3 are right. Darlene Carter, do I have an outhouse toilet like the old days for when shit hits the fan? I suppose I could use the smokehouse for one. Bucket and a toilet seat and a shed work really well for a little privacy for the ladies. Other than that, a tree's going to work well. But yeah, just the bucket and a toilet seat. You can make yourself a piece of plywood sit on top of the bucket real easy. And that's actually probably a better idea than having the actual outhouse, because if you have the actual outhouse, then you've got to dig the trench and everything like that. If you have the bucket, you can take the bucket away somewhere and get rid of it, so you don't have your waste product right there nearby you. You can keep it all. You can also keep the bucket a little closer. You don't have to have it 500 feet away from you. So it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You go, oh crap, I got to go to the bathroom. It's like, all right, I'm going to go out and walk in the dark for 500 feet. Okay, you know, there's good reasons for a bucket and a toilet seat. Billy Pollard, best beer to have during your live stream is an open one. I'll agree. I'll drink to that. Okay. Gaucho says no milk in Montgomery, Alabama last week. Okay. Wonder if it's a Southern thing. Jen's Daily Life says Michigan Walmarts are pretty stocked, surprisingly. Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard about the stores nationally, usually they run about 8 to 12% that they'll have things that are short. And lately we've been running somewhere between 15 and 17. So we are seeing more shortages than we were before, but it's not, in some things it's worse than it was in the fall, and other things fall was worse, but we haven't got to the worst of it yet. Okay, that's the thing. Whoops, where'd that go? Hang on. Shot to the bottom again. Here we are. So Joan S. says, looking to leave California. Your thoughts on Colorado, Idaho, or Texas? Depending on where you go in Colorado, you got to remember this. Colorado, even like most states, even though it's got the majority of the landmass is conservative, the cities are blue. And considering the politics, the state politics in Colorado are blue, that's enough for me to turn off from the state right there. Idaho's having the same problem that California is. All the Californians are moving to Idaho. And so everything has got ridiculously expensive, and it's pricing out the locals out of everything. And so it's not going to take too long till all those Californians start turning Idaho into California. Texas, of those three, Texas would certainly be my pick, hands down. Obviously you get areas like Austin or DFW or Houston or something that be more blue, but there's still, as much as they keep wanting to say Texas is purple, Texas is not purple. Okay. Paul, did I see the article about gas stoves are bad for the environment? Yeah. Okay. That's kind of like why New York City has banned new construction from having anything but electric. Okay. I want to give you this. Let's talk about for the environment. How much diesel exhaust do you think is getting spit up in Ottawa right now? Sorry, you guys asked for it. This is what you get, okay? I'm all for keeping things clean and stuff. I'm just not all for stupidity, all right? And natural gas is the cleanest burning fuel we have, okay? Wonderful. You want me to have an electric stove. How are you generating the electric? Oh, we use coal. Okay, dumbass. Why don't you use nuclear? Why don't you use hydroelectric? Oh, we don't have those availabilities, or nuclear is too dangerous. Okay, but you're going to tell me that my little gas stove is polluting the environment while you're sitting there pumping more coal into the electric power plant. Okay. It doesn't work, guys. Okay. None of their Looney Tune ideas for green energy work. Every one of them mathematically is not feasible. I mean, I've run through it. What did I say? It was you had the entire state of Utah and Nevada had to be covered in solar panels to power the United States, something like that. And that wasn't even including electric cars, so. Chugtails, if the financial trends continue, what will bonds look like in a year? I can't even begin to tell you because we have no idea what the Fed's going to do. I've heard stories about the Fed is going to raise 25 basis points. They're going to raise 50 basis points. You've heard anywhere from the Fed's going to raise 3 times to the Fed's going to raise 6 times this year. So I can't even begin to tell you what it's going to be. Will interest rates be higher by the end of the year than they are now? Yes. Okay. What's that going to do to the government? That's going to screw the government. The Fed's between a rock and a hard place, guys. Okay. Either they screw the government or they screw the population. They screw the government by raising rates. They screw the population if they don't, because then inflation keeps going up. So either way, we're screwed. John Fotwingler, she can't give you a thumbs up. She doesn't have thumbs. Boy, but God knows she wants them. Okie Forge, computer models are saying society will collapse in 2040, according to the Daily Star. I can make a computer model say the world will collapse tomorrow. I don't care. Okay. The end of the world is nigh. We've all seen the guys with the placards that say, this is going to be the last day. The Mayan calendar says whatever. The world will end when the world ends. Okay. Nobody knows the date. Nobody can predict it. Terry Justice, do I have a worm farm that you use in your garden? If yes, would you share your setup? No, I don't. But what I am going to do this year, and again, this is from watching YouTube videos, was seeing a couple of videos on in-garden worm farms, if you will, where basically you drill some holes in the side of a 5-gallon bucket, put your 5-gallon bucket right there in the garden, put your kitchen scraps in the bucket there, put the cover on it, and let the worms come in and out from the garden. You don't have to do anything, okay? Rather than me moving worms and doing it, let them go in and out the garden and do whatever, because you want the worms to tunnel as well as make because you want the worms to tunnel as well as make vermicompost. So that's what I'm going to try this year. Never done it before, but I'm going to give it a shot. Because, like I said, gardening is all about trying new things, experimenting, and learning. So I figure, okay, I'll try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, okay. So I got a bucket that's useless. Big deal. Or about 6 of them, but. Double D, do people know 99% of what's in the store came in on a big truck? Yeah, I said that the other day. It was like, okay, they went, oh, we're going to do everything with trains. It's like, really? I've never seen train tracks behind my grocery store. So, yeah, you're right. Terry Very, we're all going to have to be saved by the truckers. Yeah, you want to talk, the trucking industry is the lifeblood to society, okay, period. Because think about how many times has UPS, the post office, whatever it is, come to deliver something to your house? How do you think it got to that delivery truck? It came on a truck, okay, on a semi, on an 18-wheeler, on a train somehow, Everything in the grocery store comes in on trucks. Everything in the hardware store, the gasoline that you pump in your car comes in on trucks. You stop trucks, you completely stop civilization, okay? And we go back to tribal communities living within a mile of your house. Ruth Corcoran, seems like all media news is speculation, very few facts anymore. I saw a comment somewhere today, I don't remember where it was, but somebody said the only place that you get the real news is on YouTube. And I kind of agree, because if I turn on, and I don't care if it's CNN, if it's Fox, if it's whatever it is, it's a 2-second fact that's turned into a 1.5-minute segment with, an hour or 1 minute and 28 seconds of opinion on that 2-second fact. Okay. Give me the facts, all of them, the whole story from A to Z, not just from A to J. Okay. Give me the whole story and let me, there used to be, I can't remember what station it was, said their tagline was something like, we'll give you the facts, you decide, or something like that. That's what news is supposed to be. There's a reason there's an editorial section of the newspaper, because that's where the opinion is supposed to be. The rest of it is supposed to be, here are the facts. TV news they can't do that, because ever since we went to the 24/7 news cycle, you try filling 24 hours worth of programming with just facts. There's not enough news in a day. So we've got to, let's have, 4 cackling hens sit out here, the view, and just spin everything into, such a knot that who knows what's going on, really. Like, anybody in the world gives a crap what Whoopi Goldberg thinks about anything, okay? Empress Kimberly, how is it legal for Soros to put $250 million into the 2022 election? Easy. PACs, okay, political action committees. You can't donate it to a specific candidate. He can't give it to the Democrat Party, but he can give it to a outside PAC that then they can, we're not, you see all the commercials, we're not affiliated with the Joe Blow for Congress campaign at all, but they can run all the ads they want, So he just, gives it to the PAC, says, okay, you're going to support Joe Blow for Congress, right? Yep. Okay, here's a check for $20,000 or whatever the hell it would be. And he can do that. 9:58. So we got time for a couple more. Yarn Prepper, pool noodle toilet, pool noodle on the top of a 5-gallon bucket. Yep, there's another good way of doing it. Rooster says within the next couple of weeks we roll over 30 trillion on the national debt. Yeah, that's, eventually, guys, that coming from the Rooster, eventually it all comes to roost. Okay, we can't pay the debt. Eventually, nobody's going to loan us any more money. That's the issue. Kiss my grits. this will probably be the last question because it's going to take me a second to answer this one. Do you think they're ready for autonomous trucks yet? And I saw this somewhere else today. Think about this. They're trying to push driverless cars on us. And we've already seen story with the very few driverless cars that are out there. We've already seen the stories of car accidents, pedestrians getting run over. You saw the story maybe a week ago with the video where the guy had porn on his little TV screen as he was driving along while the car was driving and he was playing with another stick shift. So you think about that's all the problems they're having with these autonomous cars. Now, let's take that and put that in a truck. And let's take something that a fully loaded truck weighs about 40 tons. And let's let that go and have a computer malfunction. You ever been inside of a big rig? It used to be back in the 70s that, truckers, I'm not taking anything away from truckers, just hear me out all the way. There was a lot of, how do you do this? And you're going through all the things, highly skilled to drive a truck. Driving a truck is not easy. Now, it's a complete different set of skills you get into a truck. You get into an 18-wheeler now, it looks like you just got in an airplane, okay? These guys got to be like a pilot. It's like flip, switch, and, oh, gee, we'll just have a computer run that. Great. Let's have a computer run an 80,000-pound piece of machinery down the highway at 75 miles an hour, and oops, that wire wasn't tight. And that, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's SUV and that little Prius, speed bump. Okay. No, we ain't anywhere close. I don't think we'll see autonomous trucks in my lifetime. So. All right, guys, 1 minute over, but thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday evening. And hopefully you guys get dug out of the snow on the East Coast and the rest of us can stay warm. So have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.